And we are live, bashing the brain, live on a Thursday from Rochester, New York, on this corner, in that corner, Fishers, Indiana.
Fishers, Indiana, the one and only. I tell you what, it's a nice town. I thought, I don't know, I thought it was be suburbish, and but it's city like. It's I don't know the hometown. If you guys know of Mitch Sliga, Mitch Sliga was like a four-time Fargo champ. Went to Northwestern, didn't do crazy good, but in high school he was a beast. He was from right here. But Fishers, Indiana for RAF.
We got to talk about that, too. There's no shortage of topics today, William.
No, there's a lot of stuff. There's RAF. There's Crystal Ball. There's big duels on tap.
Wish
I could get to some of them, actually.
It is an awesome, maybe like National Duels was an incredible event, but for not having like that marquee event like a National Duels, this weekend I think is the best weekend of the year yet. Because you have collegiate duels going on in Nashville, you have RAF going on in Indiana, you have Oklahoma State, Nebraska, you have, even at the collegiate duels, you have duels like Ohio State, Iowa State, you have Penn State, Stanford, which has some sneaky good duels. As number 3, Penn State looks to set the record.
Looks to set the record. Yeah, by no mistake can Stanford go with them, but there's key matchups, right? There's really interesting key matchups.
Yeah, no, it's one of those things where it's like I can't remember what duel it was, but it's like Penn State, Stanford. All of Stanford guys, Penn State has a higher ranked guy than. So it's just like it's not matching up well from a team standpoint, but the matchups are going to be electric, which we'll talk about in a few minutes. Where do you want to start, Willie? Because we've got. By the way, let me do one thing of housekeeping, because on Monday's show we had Don Bashada on the show, and he's becoming like a recurring guest. So I don't feel the need to always introduce him, but I probably should have, because there's people like, who is that? That's Don Bashada. He's a good friend of Willie and I's. He's a wrestling brain. He's been following the sport intently for 30 years, so he's a lot of value to add. But I felt bad because some people were commenting and DMing like, who is that? I'm like, oh, it's Don. He's the captain. He's the Captain Bashada. He's
really a lawyer, but he spends time fishing a lot.
But even when he's fishing, he's working. He's attorneying.
Yeah.
All right, so where do you want to start? Because there are new Crystal Ball rankings. I think before we kind of go through those, and let's talk about some of the updates, because rankings has been a hot button topic this last week, and we talked about it a little bit on Monday's show, but you need rankings. At the same time, you need rankings, but there's an inherent flaw in them. And I think, and Don tweeted this and said this on Monday, like, Crystal Ball is such a healthy balance, because, we could dive into rankings, and I'm sure Bashada wants to come back on and keep that talk going because he has a lot of thoughts. And by the way, Bashada, he's not only an attorney, he owns a data science company. So he does a lot with data at a high level, and that's why the argument on rankings and like, should freestyle matches matter and all that to say, Crystal Ball is such a fun style of rankings, because it is predictions. It is what I think is going to happen, and it is a really good indication for where guys are likely actually at versus where they can only be ranked. Like, I'll give you an example. This weekend, it's number 10, Marcus Blaze versus number 6, Tyler Knox. It's number 8, PJ Duke versus number 5, Daniel Cardenas. Still great, still top 10 matchups, but Blaze and Duke are not your typical 8 or 10, which an 8 or 10 in the wrestling world, you're a AA bubble fringe guy. You're on the fringe of being able to All-American. PJ Duke and Marcus Blaze, as examples, are not guys who you really wonder, are they on the bubble of being able to All-American? So we have new Crystal Ball rankings that Willie did. Do you want to dive right into those rankings, or do you or do you want to go on a Willie parade because the more that goes on, the more the Willie was right train seems to be leaving the station. I said it on Monday. I tweeted on Sunday that this whole Jax Forrest thing, I mean, we said it. So we said it after he didn't wrestle at Ironman, and he was at the Oklahoma State duel, and Oklahoma State tweets a picture of him and David. And then you have a Bishop McCourt duel where it's Jax Forrest senior night.
Yeah, I mean, there were rumors that Jax was, and they weren't strong rumors, or they weren't loud rumors. I would say there was chatter that Jax was going to think about going to Okie State second semester. Well, I didn't pay attention to it, and then national duels, I went down there, and people I was around talked about like it was a foregone conclusion. So on a show after that, I said that's happening, and
Yeah.
took some heat for it. People saying he ain't gonna do it. That's not right. That's stupid. I don't know why he would do that. Whatever. But it appears to be the case that he is doing that. And now the second prong of that is he's gonna go. Like I said, he's gonna go. Does he actually wrestle is another case. And from what the vibe I get is the ball's in his court. Like the vibe I get is that Okie State wants him to wrestle. It's Jax. Do you want to pull the trigger? Or do you want to use your eligibility? And so he's going to be there. It's just a matter of will he? Does he want to? Should they pull it? And Okie State sounds like the coaches and the school want him to wrestle.
Do you think if he goes, he's definitely not redshirting, like he's going to compete all season, or do you think there's a shot that he does?
In the crystal ball, like I've been adamant that he is going to Okie State.
Yep.
The second question is he wrestling? If you noticed in crystal ball this week, I didn't put him in because I don't know. I'm 50-50 on if he's actually going to get into the lineup. I'm like 90-10 on if I think he should. Like I think he should. Well, I think it's best for the school. I think a lot of people get hung up on they get hung up on two things. Well, we can't win a team title this year. So therefore, what's the point in wrestling him? I don't believe that's the right outlook. I don't believe that's the right approach to it. Number one, and number two, they get hung up on. Well, he could be a four-timer. Well, the world could come to an end tomorrow. He could feel differently in 4 years. I don't agree with making decisions based on if a guy who hasn't won one could win four. I mean, stop.
Yeah, the could win four is the silliest argument. I think Bashada actually coined the concept of win one before you can talk about winning four.
Yeah,
and that's kind of like that's kind of the mantra that I believe now, where it's like, yeah, I get it, but you could break a leg, you could do this, you could do that. Like, who knows what could happen? Like, go win one, and then talk about the potential of being a four-timer.
I mean, listen. I'm not saying that Jax Forrest is going to beat us, but there's so many factors. Jax Forrest. I mean, not even Jax Forrest. Premier blue chip prospect X that has never wrestled never won one. They could get injured. There could be a weight change. There could be a different thing. The next Jax Forrest, the next blue chip prospect could come in. Everything, all kinds of stuff can change. Win one or two before you talk about four. By the time you're going for three, in your not if you're going for 3 or 4, but by the time you get to your third or fourth year of college, you might say to yourself, "Man, I wish I didn't redshirt a couple years ago because I'm ready to be done with this and move on to the senior level." There's so much, not last year, 2 years ago, I think at this time. 2 years ago at this time. Gabe Arnold had beaten 2 AAs, right? He was like 4-0 and beat two AAs. And should they use Gabe Arnold? Who should go, Patrick Kennedy or Gabe Arnold? And they were like, well, Gabe could be a four-timer. I'm not kidding.
No, I know. That's every top prospect. It's like anybody who's a top prospect, it instantly starts the conversation of four-timer.
Well,
and it's like
you know, Carter's going to graduate next year. We should wait, put Gabe in next year. He can be a four-timer. You know, I think that kind of stuff's nonsense. But
so when do you think we have an official announcement?
I don't think. What, that he's going or that he's wrestling?
That he's going. I do think it's interesting. Wrestling is a very secretive sport and you're on a need-to-know basis. But I do think David Taylor takes a different approach, and I do think he'll leverage Jax coming to hype the fans up, keep them excited. So I don't think it would be as secretive as it otherwise may be in this sport. Like, I do feel like when that transition happens, first of all, he's not wrestling at McCourt anymore. Like, there's going to be a small window. But when do you think we would know at the earliest it's official Jax is here? Even if we don't know for sure if he's wrestling yet or not.
I don't know. Well, when do I think? I mean, he'll be on the roster at some point.
I was wondering when the student directory sleuths who find out. I don't know how to get to the student directory, but when you get in the student directory and it's like, you know, you see Ono in the student directory, this guy, and it kind of like, that's usually the first sign that somebody's there. So I feel like somebody at some point is going to get a screenshot of Jax in the Oklahoma State student directory, and that's how we'll know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm pretty sure he's going, like 99. I think, yeah, to me it's happening. But will he?
Elder Brad in the chat wants to know, do second semester athletes become eligible on January 1st?
No, not necessarily. Second semester athlete. I don't know. I don't know if it varies by institution. All I know is this. Put it this way. Chance Lamer was ineligible first semester, right? He might be eligible tomorrow.
When we preview Oklahoma State, Nebraska in a few minutes, I was going to bring that up, if it's going to be Zinkin or if you think it's going to be Chance.
So I don't know. I don't know if it varies by institution or if it's like all second semester athletes are eligible. I thought it was when classes started for second semester.
Makes sense.
I don't think it is that. So there's a couple logical things away of thinking of it. Is it the day classes start second semester? Is it the day after classes end first semester?
That's what I thought it was.
I don't know. So, I think that...
Bashada's in the chat saying Cornell says their guys are available now.
Right. So, Cornell's guys are going to be available. Chance Lamer, I know for sure, they're just waiting on first semester grades. When first semester grades are turned in, then he'll be eligible for second semester, which second semester, he'd be ready tomorrow.
Yeah.
Or Saturday. So, yeah. So where do you want to go? To Crystal Ball now?
Yeah, let's do your Crystal Ball updates. You know, so
keep in mind, I didn't put Jax in Crystal Ball because here's the weird kind of dynamic is I think 100% he should go. He should wrestle. I'm not very confident that it happens. I think it should happen. I think David wants it to happen, and by all accounts that I'm hearing, that it's up to Jax. But I don't know. I don't get the overwhelming vibe that decision has been made. So I didn't put him in. So
yeah, and I'll give the same disclaimer I always give when we talk Crystal Ball. Crystal Ball is posted on Willie's Rockfin, rockfin.com/Matt Scouts. You can go do Crystal Ball. Their rankings based on predictions. All rankings are basically opinions until I see a formula that says otherwise. Willie's the only one who basically says, yes, this is my opinion. This is who I think is going to be this is what I think, this is how I think the season is going to end. So he started one before the season, and then every time every couple of weeks or whatever, there's an update. So he did the latest update. So we'll go through these updates and kind of give an updated look at the picture. But you can go to rockfin.com/Matt Scouts and get the full picture, and go weight by weight. But for now, we'll talk the changes.
I think one thing that every once in a while, I don't know, once or twice a year, certain college rankings will be brought up and discussed and scrutinized, and it will stir up a discussion. But I think one thing that this particular incident, and the incident is rankings with Penn State as a slight favorite, or Penn State not first or second. Like, everybody knows that Penn State should be the leading contender, ranked number one. Everybody knows that Penn State should be ranked number one. But both Intermat and Flo and everybody really has it close, or Penn State not even one or two. And I think that this situation highlights the fact that the entire rankings system, the way they do it, is not,
it's flawed,
realistic, right? It's not realistic, because you can have a fine rationale. And by the way, this is the way these guys have always been doing it. So it's not like some recent thing. But for Penn State to be not far and away the number one team score, it just highlights the flaw in the process. And that's why I've always said Crystal Ball is better in the beginning of the year, but than the other outlets. But
well, it's funny because you texted me. You usually text me during the rankings with little notes and this and that, and one of them was funny. You're like, honestly, there's not that many changes. I'm like, well, that's the whole point of Crystal Ball being good. In theory, you're predicting what March is going to be like, and the less changes there are, the more accurate you are, in theory. Whereas, that's kind of a good thing.
Yeah, it's weird because, the regular rankings, they're undergoing oh my God, Penn State's not in the lead. Oh my God. And I'm like, my stuff didn't change much because I already had it this way a long time ago, and Penn State still has a ridiculously commanding lead. So guess what? I mean, really, it's saying, and I'm tooting my own horn, but go ahead and look at other rankings in the preseason. My rankings have been right the whole entire time, because of what you see now is they're going through all kinds of pain. I ain't going through no pain. I had it right the whole time.
I do find it funny, I was talking to Kozak about it, and I said, my whole problem with these tournament rankings is they just lack context. I understand in theory they're, hey, here's a tournament look based on their current rankings. But that's also saying in that model that, hey, guys, here's what the NCAA tournament would look like based on current rankings. Oh, and by the way, what it would look like without a single bonus point. Penn State scored 34.5 last year in March. Penn State alone, by Flo's own projection, their bonus points alone, if they were a team, would be 10th in the country.
There's another problem the way they do it, and I will admit that mine's not perfect, but you can't perfectly predict bonus, right? You don't know if a guy's gonna pin or tech. You don't know if a guy's gonna have it, whatever, and doing that cumulatively across a tournament. But I mean, the other sites use 20 points for a national champ, 2016. But name a national champ that didn't get some bonus, right? Name a national champ that had exactly 20. I don't think anybody gets less than 21, 22.
Well, it's also like even the context of like, let's say you're between Penn State and Iowa, right? And it's like there's a difference at number one. You know, we talked a couple of weeks ago about how Angelo Ferrari wrestles a lot of close matches, and he could have a very close tournament of winning 2-1, 3-2, 4-3 matches, and a couple weights below, you could have Messenbrink teching people 20-5 through the whole tournament. So those two champions look very different for their team. And a lot of the ones look different. A lot of the twos look different. Like bonus points, looking at NCAAs without bonus points just seems like it lacks context for me. That's why I'm like, maybe you don't do it until January 15th. Like starting January 15th, hey, now that we're halfway through the season, here's our tournament rankings based on rankings. You know, some context is needed because otherwise it's just like,
I don't know. It's all about early season. It's all about not being able to rank the freshmen appropriately. I mean, really, and and a lot about new faces and whether they're proven or not, because they're held back by their process, where I don't have those restrictions, and that's the long and short of it. Um, all right, let's. You want to talk crystal ball, or you want to talk weekend preview?
let's just go through the crystal ball changes because I don't think there's too many. It shouldn't take too long. We'll just talk the changes, the main changes, and if you want to go through, they'll be linked up everywhere. But why don't you just talk about the changes you made this time?
Changes. Don't let me sing. Don't let me sing.
Sing it, sing it, sing it.
Where we at here? All right. Crystal ball changes. Um, Not too much change in team points. For all the hubbub that's being made, I have Penn State with 180 points, clearly in first place, like by 60 some over Ohio State. And I even think I have Ohio State's total a little high. Um, Penn State, since last update, lost 8 points. Previously, I had Penn State with 188 team points, which sounds preposterous. They lost eight, and here's where they lost 8 points. I flip flopped Angelo Ferrari and Josh Barr, or
Rocco
Rocky.
Welch.
So that was a 4 point loss. I give 22 and then 18 for second. So I had Rocco first. I now have Rocco second. So Penn State lost 8 points. That was four of them. The other four that was lost was Connor Marisola. I had Connor Marisola taking eighth place, and now I have him. No. Yeah, Cole Marisola. I'm
I was
sorry.
to say Cole, yeah, because you still have Barr in there.
I had Cole Marisola, eighth at heavyweight. I now have him blood round, so knocked down one tier, winning one less match. That I give 8 points for taking eighth. I give 4 points for. I project 4 points approximately for making the blood round, and so that was eight. That was the totality of Penn State's changes. Pretty simple, right? I pretty much had it exactly the same the whole way. Um, Now, I do think there's some moving parts. A lot of people have talked about Josh Barr and whether it will be Connor Marisola, and um, I'm like 110% sure that it will be Josh Barr. Like, Josh Barr is coming back. I thought there was a path for Connor Marisola to wrestle this year and Josh Barr to take a medical year because he got hurt at U23s. But Josh Barr, I'm told, is coming back. Now he'll have to earn the spot.
I believe he's going to Nashville this weekend. So
Yeah, and so, but I think that, they also could have in-room wrestle offs, or they could both go to the scuffle and wrestle and see if they have a head-to-head there. Anyway, I believe when the dust settles, the major point here is that I believe when the dust settles, it will be Josh Barr, and I have Josh Barr winning the whole thing. Now, you could object to that and say, well, in your head, you have Josh Barr third, or you have second. He's going to get beat by Rocky Elam or something. Okay, but it's still an approximation. And if Josh would take first, second, third, it's only a handful of points. So you still have Penn State with an enormous lead, and I don't think anything else is kind of ridiculous. There is also some questions on Aaron Nagel and 141. Nagel seemed to be the starter in the beginning of the year, kind of in a fluid situation, and then he got injured, and they have a couple other pieces there. And I think 141 is a spot. I think 141 is a spot where you have to watch. I think it's still in play. I think it could be anybody. I think it could be Nagel. I think it could be Nathan Desmond. And I really think there's a possibility, maybe even a likelihood, of Braden Davis coming out of redshirt. And so we'll see. But then again, in this whole conversation about, is Penn State number one? Should Penn State be number one? By how much should Penn State be number one? I mean, it's inconsequential. I have Nagel as a blood round guy right now, and they still have a commanding lead. So,
yeah, I mean, they just have so many guys out in front as finalists, favorites to make the finals. That, I mean, even like you said, if a guy takes second instead of first, like, there's still so many projected finalists.
And there's not a whole lot of sure things. Look, I have Lillidahl as a champ. I have Blaze as a champ. I have Van Ness as a champ. Those things aren't carved in stone, right? Lillidahl could take third. He did last year. Blaze is a true freshman. He could take third, fifth, whatever. Shane Van Ness is in a topsy-turvy weight. PJ Duke's a true freshman. Maybe none of them win, but Penn State still wins the title if they all take fifth. I don't care. So there's not a controversy. It's not like up for debate.
Hey, our British friend Infa Rest is in the chat saying, Ono said he's wrestling in an open in January. Most likely, what opens are in January? Edinburgh Open January 4th and Franklin and Marshall Open January 9th. Those are the two opens that I'm aware of. Thought I'd answer him real quick.
Yeah. There'll be plenty of time. I don't understand. I'm not going to try to speak intelligently on the Ono front because I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what the plan or the path is. I mean, honestly, I guess he got here late last year, so he didn't have a full year of training under his belt. I not knowing, being on the sidelines and not knowing all the details. My position always has been I would have wrestled him this year.
He wants some Cal's cookies.
Yeah, he wants Cal's cookies. I would have wrestled him this year, but they haven't.
I think both the Penn State camp and Ono want Ono in the room as long as possible. I think it's not just about the collegiate wrestling. I think Ono really wants to do that. He wants to be a part of all those cool environments. You know, he went to the Penn State-Iowa duel last year at BJC, Big Tens, NCAAs. He wants to be a part of that. I also think that iron sharpens iron. And the longer he's in that room, whether it's training freestyle with the other guys, whether it's learning folk style, I think it only betters both Penn State and Ono. So I don't think there's a rush to use his eligibility so he can, likely go back to Japan to train.
Yeah, I just 99.9% of the time, if I get criticized, it's because, oh, Will, you talk like you know everything.
Well, you call yourself the brain, so I mean.
Well, I am the smartest guy in wrestling. But I will not pretend to know what the plan is or what they're doing with Ono. I have no idea. Let's talk about some other teams, though. Ohio State is up to 118 points, and I will say that Nebraska scored 100. So last year, Nebraska scored 117 points and took second.
Yep.
117 points is historically high for a second place team.
Yep.
Um, I think that Nebraska last year at 117, man, I could be way off on this, but I think it was the third highest runner up total of all time, meaning like a lot of 117 would have won in a lot of years. Um, and so I have Ohio State projected at 118, which means that it would be a historically high total for a runner up finish. Now, I don't know if all that comes to fruition. Um, and that was up 11 points from my previous. That's up 11 points from my previous crystal ball. Um, I have Buzakis taking fourth right now, up a little bit from last time. Um, and
You're less worried because you were worried about the multiple day weigh-in. You even put it as a note in the crystal ball, I think. But you're putting some respect on his name.
Okay, so man. The thing about crystal ball is I wanted this to be quick, and I know we're laboring on some stuff, but I could talk about this all day because I'm just a nerd. I love this, getting into the nuances of rankings. I talk about rankings all day long. But the interesting situation with Nick Buzakis and 125 is no, I went from low up to fourth now, and really not much change. So why did I do that? I'm still concerned about multi-day weigh-in for Nick Buzakis. I think it's entirely different for Nick Buzakis to wrestle in a duel versus a one-day tournament versus a two-day tournament versus a three-day tournament. So I'm still worried about that. But here's why I moved him up. Because nobody else proved it. Like, it's not like these guys are world beaters. It's not like there's 7 other guys just wowing me. I mean, it's all 2-1 matches.
Listen, the crazy thing is I didn't even tell you this when you're doing Crystal Ball, but you know how WrestleStat has everything just algorithm based. WrestleStat actually has Nick Buzakis number 1 in the country at 125 pounds.
That's
so
crazy.
I think that plays into what you're saying, though. It's not necessarily that Buzakis has some crazy resume, but when you look at the whole field, like,
yeah.
Buzakis isn't number 1 for no reason on WrestleStat. Like, they're all, it's all algorithm based. So I don't think you're crazy. And he's going to have some big matches coming up. He's got Steve O'Poolin this weekend in the Iowa State duel. He'll have Maximo Rentiera in a couple weeks, and then he'll have a rematch with Jory.
Wow, you butchered that one.
What'd I butcher?
That's worse than Brandon McCrowan.
Then he'll have Jory Volk.
I mean, the people need this to happen again.
What?
Who is the Oregon State starter at 125?
Maximo Rentiera.
Rentiera?
Yeah.
Maximo Rentiera. Or maybe is it Renteria?
Rentiera. The way I said it.
The I is before the E?
Correct. Yeah, listen, I blame WrestleStat. Because I'm just reading and not thinking about names. I'm just reading, and it's got the black background. Listen, this is not the name show. If you want correct pronunciation of every name, go listen to Jason Bryan's show. He'll never mispronounce a single name.
No, he would not.
So either way, though, Buzakis has a tough schedule coming up, and he's going to continue to be battle-tested over this next month, and I'm really excited to see how those matches go.
All right, let's go. Let's go continue with Ohio State. So I have Buzakis conservatively at 4. I have 33. I have Davino at 4. I think that's about the right ballpark. I have Jesse winning it with pretty high confidence.
Did you bump Davino again? I can't remember what you had him last time.
Davino, I think I did bump a little bit. No, I didn't bump Davino. I had Davino ahead of Ayala and Frost. The only change I made at the top of 33 was Bird ahead of Crookham, and I just think he deserves that right now. I don't know. I don't know. I have Blaze, Bird, Crookham, Davino, Ayala 5, Evan Frost 6. And here's another place where I differ is like in from the other rankings is, oh well, Evan Frost just beat Drake Ayala. How can Drake Ayala be ahead of Frost? You look at Crystal Ball. I have a ton of that. I have a ton of this guy just beat this guy, but I have this other guy. I have it reversed. So that's what I think. That's
I
what I
mean,
like.
WrestleStat has the same thing. Like with Oklahoma State, Nebraska, which we'll get into, they have I think it's the Zack Ryder, Silas Allred match and Sergio Vega, Brock Hardy match is going the other way this time. So
Yeah.
even though those guys got the OT wins last time, I think they switched them both.
So let's stick with the anatomy of Ohio State's projected runner-up team. Nick Buzak is fourth. Ben Davino fourth, which I think with some upside.
Yeah.
I think it's possible for him to finish higher than four, higher than Crookham, Bird, Blaze. Mendez at one. I really like Mendez at one. I mean, I really, obviously, everybody likes Mendez at one. But what I'm saying is the composition of the weight doesn't really say, well, a lot of things could happen. I mean, right now it's Mendez, and then we'll see who his finals opponent is. I was asked about the Okie State guys asked me about Sergio Vega, like, oh, Willie, you had Vega. Well, they got real particular with it. Willie, you had Vega 4 last week or last time. Why is he 5 now? It's like it's only one spot, but that's because I had Echemendia 5 previously. And I just really like the consistency and um, kind of the kind of seniorness of Echemendia. He's been through the ringer, right? He's been through this before. He's approaching it like a veteran. He's wrestling very high level. He's very much more adapted to NCAA folk style now. I really like Echemendia to be a top 3 guy. Um,
By the way,
and
speaking of both,
therefore, I jumped Echemendia from 5 to 3 ahead of Stanich and Vega. So it
but
wasn't that Vega did anything that I didn't like. It was that Echemendia impressed me.
and to that point, we're gonna see 1 versus 3 and 2 versus 5 this weekend. Jesse Mendez versus Anthony Echemenda, likely in the Ohio State Iowa State duel, and then Brock Hardy Sergio Vega rematch from national duels this weekend. So
Yeah. And so that person also said, well, what if Vega beats Hardy again? Hardy, you have it still at 2. Vega, you have at 5. What if Vega beats Hardy? Will you still have Hardy ahead? No. If Vega beats Hardy this week, Vega will go up. Hardy will go behind Vega, and I have a real difficult time with Vega in this particular weight class because you have Mendez, because you have Echemendia, who's a veteran. And here's the curveball to me with trying to figure out Vega and how he fits. Here's the curveball, or here's my dilemma. Stanich beats Bo Bassett, right? He beat him 3 times. They wrestled 4 matches. He beat him 3 out of 4. Vega loses to Bassett, right? I mean, we've seen that match twice. Bassett's 2-0. Bassett's 2-0 against Vega. Stanich is 3-1 against Bassett. So it's very hard for me. It's very hard for me to put Vega ahead of Stanich.
and by the way, like, because I was talking to an Oklahoma State fan too about Vega, and I'm like, arguably no freshman has such a path to prove himself as Sergio does. I mean, he's got Brock Hardy rematch this weekend. He's got where is it? He's got Anthony Etchemendia in a duel on February 1st. Like, he's going to see these top guys. They're going to wrestle Iowa. He's going to have Nasir Bailey again. Like, he's not just going to even see these guys once. He's seeing Bailey twice. He's seeing Brock Hardy twice. He's seeing Anthony Etchemendia. Like, Sergio has so many chances to continue to prove himself. Like, he's one of these guys that sometimes it stinks when a guy who's really good doesn't have. Like, PJ Duke will get his first top 10 matchup this weekend, I think. And it's like, okay, well, I understand if you're not going to factor everything else in, having these guys ranked a little lower. Sergio Vega's kind of got the blessing of having all these guys in front of him, and he can take them out and climb the rankings.
Well, to me, there's two sides of the coin. Like, one, Vega comes out, premier blue chip prospect, has a sterling start to his career, including a win over Brock Hardy, who had a 5-0 lead in NCAA finals. Right? Sergio Vega just dominated Brock Hardy, who had a 5-0 lead in national finals last March. On the other hand, but I've taken the approach of, yes, he's very good. Yes, he's capable. But he might drop a match or two. And it's not that I'm saying that Sergio Vega is not as good as that. I'm saying this is wrestling. He could lose a match or two. So it's conservative. Let's get more data on him. He has a whole lot of time. I have a whole lot of time to move him up. I think it's respectable to be at 5 right now. So that's the top 5. And really, 141 is such that, I think Braden Davis might be the guy here, but that's really the only curveball I see. I mean, this group of 5, right? Mendez, Hardy, Etchemendia, Stanich, Vega. Tell me who outside of that group breaks into the top 5. I don't think Composto does. Seth Romney hasn't been great. I think he's like 1-2 on the year. Vance Vombauer has lost like 2 matches already. He has not been good. Aaron Nagel is an enigma. Nasir Bailey has not been good. Dylan Ragusan hasn't wrestled a match. Vince Cornella hasn't wrestled a match.
141 is kind of shaping up like 184, where you have that top tier.
Yes, absolutely.
Where it's like it's going to be very hard to see somebody break into that.
Yeah. All right, sticking with the Ohio State thing, I got Ethan Stiles at 4, and that's really dubious. I mean, Ethan Stiles started this year with 2 losses to unranked guys. I really do not like 41, 49, and 57. I don't like the depth, and outside of the top 5 guys at 41, across those 3 weights, I don't really think there's any sure things whatsoever, including Shane Van Ness. I mean, hell, I have Eli Rivera and Jacob Frost 7-8. You know what? Let me stick with Ohio State 118. With 118 points going all the way through. Styles 4. I got Brandon Cannon at 6, and that's a little conservative because he's beaten Antrell Taylor. But him at 6. At 165, I have Patty Gallagher taking 8th. I think that's right where he should be on that sort of bubble. 174. I have Karchla 4. He lost to Kennedy. Now, Kennedy did lose to Catan, but I think Karchla's clearly in the mid-range there. I think Karchla could go anywhere, really, from 2 to 6.
Yep.
Dylan Fishback. Now, Dylan Fishback's an interesting one because his track record kind of says blood round. I mean, to me, his track record's always been blood round. That's what he has been his entire career. But this year, he seems a little bit better. This year, he seems clearly 5, like almost in a tier of his own. Because you have this like tier of Ferrari, Welsh, McAnally, Sinclair. And then you have Fishback. And listen, when I say a tier of his own, I mean from how this season has gone thus far. I don't mean that Silas Allred can't beat Dylan Fishback. I do not mean to say that Brock Mantanona or Jackson Smith or James Conway or Zach Ryder. I don't mean to say that it is impossible for them to beat Dylan Fishback. But I'm saying right now is you have the big 4, and I don't know if Fishback is in that group. And then you have Fishback, who to this point in the year has competed better than anybody
But
else beyond.
agreed, and like for Fishback to be outside of that top four, but only lose 4-1 matches to both Ferrari and Max McAnally, that's about as close as you can get to being in that tier. When it's a 1-1 match with both of those guys heading into OT, like it's as close as you're literally going to get.
Yeah. Now 197 is actually the only spot where I don't have a Buckeye AA in. I have Luke Geog in the round of 16. Yeah, that's just where I think he is. Could he be higher? I guess. I just don't see it particularly right now. 197 is at, it's like simultaneously deep but not elite, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I
know what you're trying to say.
Yeah, there's a lot of contenders, but not a whole lot of unbeatables.
Yep.
And then 285, I have Feldman fourth. So 118 is a lot of points. I see a lot of people say, can Ohio State, and this comes with the flow ranking of Ohio State ahead of Penn State. But when you say, is there any path for Ohio State? I basically have Ohio State maxed. I have 9 Ohio State All-Americans, and they are still only 118. So I think like where I see a kind of fair assessment, but it's speaking broadly, but a fair assessment is I have Ohio State maxed at 118, which I think would be Penn State's nightmare scenario. Like Ohio State's best case scenario is Penn State's, oh my God, what the hell happened to us?
Which is crazy. Yeah.
Ohio State's ceiling is Penn State's floor.
Hold on. Keith is asking if I have any of those Cal cookies laying around. They're coming out January 5th, so I'll have some then, but they're not out yet.
Kale cookies. Keith, there's not marijuana in those cookies. There's not Keith Gothard's waiting until Kale comes out with pot brownies.
By the way, the whole Cal's cookies thing, it's so funny. For people who don't remember, Cal had something called an undefeated sport nutrition sport cookie back 15 years or so ago. Cal has been getting those cookies for the last 15 years. He has continued to have his old partner just make them for him and his family because they're truly so good. So for the past 15 years, Cal has never stopped eating them. He finally
they've just been a product that he gets.
Correct.
They've been made. They just haven't been a commercial product.
Correct. So finally, Cal said, "Why don't we just reinvent them, reintroduce them?" Because enough people around Cal, because he eats them all the time, his whole family eats them. They're kind of like a protein bar, meal replacement bar type thing. It's not necessarily like a sweet cookie. It's like a healthy snack you can have post weigh-ins. So he wants the team eating them. He wants other people eating them. So he finally decided to re-release them. Bought out the recipe, and yeah, they're good. I used to have them all the time. I'm excited to have some more again.
Kale's cookies. I thought it was fake at first.
Well, I saw some people like, this is the most random thing ever. Like it kind of is if you don't know the background that he was involved in this before.
McCoy Lemon says $4 for a 9-gram protein cookie is crazy.
Well, what do you think a protein bar costs? What was a protein shake at the gym cost? Like,
I know that's the thing today. It's like $4 for a cookie. I don't know, it doesn't seem.
Listen, I pay.
We gotta do it, Bash. Me and you at some point. I really want, especially maybe in the off season, to do like a political show or not even a current events show. I really want to do it.
I'll say this.
I don't want to get into it on this show, but like the prices of everything. Like you go to a gas station and a bag of beef jerky is like $24. Like, bro,
you want to talk about the price of cookies? So my son cannot have dairy, eggs, and peanuts.
What?
He's allergic to all three of them. So when we
Oh
get
my
him like
God, what is this all about?
when we get him cupcakes, cookies, we have to have them like specially made, like vegan cookies, basically. Those are expensive because it's not easy to make a good cookie, a good cupcake, a good cake without eggs. So, listen, this is nothing compared to what it could be.
It's crazy because people. This is not about wrestling, guys. I'm sorry, but people complain. Oh my God, a $4 cookie. Guys, you do it all the time. You pay $24 for a bag of beef jerky. I mean, last night I had a crazy travel day, and then then I was here and I was bouncing around. I went to a athletes welcome meeting for RAF, and it just got turned into a long thing. And I didn't even sleep the night before, and I'm exhausted. And I get back to the hotel, and I'm like, I just want some wings. I ordered wings, right? I ordered wings on Uber Eats. I ordered 8 wings and French fries, and it was it was $20. And then when the Uber tax on the yada yada yada, it was $31. Okay, listen, follow me here. It was $31, and the wings came, and I got them, and I ate 5 wings, Okay, and then I went to sleep. I wound down. I checked out some wrestling. I checked out some wrestling sports, and then I'm going to sleep. It's like 1 in the morning, and I say to myself, like it dawns on me, like I just spent $31. I ate 5 wings. I paid $6 a wing.
It's nuts. My kids were both at the office with me last week, and
$6 a wing.
I don't use DoorDash, but I used it, and I got Chipotle delivered to the office. I couldn't believe how much it was for 3 people. It's absurd. All right, let's get back to rankings. What else do we have left in Crystal Ball?
All right, so that was Ohio State analysis. A couple other nuggets. Iowa. I think I was out. I have Iowa at 104 and 7 AAs. I believe I don't recall if they went up or down. I don't know if that total is up or down. But I do know that I dropped Drake like 1 or 2 spots. I bumped Angelo up 1. That's a 4-point swing. I think Keeter's about the same. I was basically about the same as they were previously. Nebraska fell a little bit. They're at 99, and Nebraska's at 99. So for the final spot in the podium race, you have Penn State, who looks like a national championship lock. You have Ohio State, who looks like the second best team right now, clearly. And then you kind of have Iowa, who could maybe catch Ohio State, or I should say, I don't think Iowa can catch Ohio State. I think Ohio State could have a bad day or a bad session and fall to Iowa's level, but I don't think Iowa can rise to Ohio State's level, if that makes sense. But you have this group of Iowa at 104, Nebraska at 99, Iowa State at 92, and Okie State at 88. So 4 teams chasing 2 podium spots, separated by 16 points, which is achievable. And then you have a massive drop off. So I have Oklahoma State at 88 and Lehigh at 55. So massive drop off there between the top 6 teams and the rest of the country.
Be interesting to see where Oklahoma State goes if you do put in Jax Forrest, if he does start wrestling. Because I think you have Ronnie Ramirez not placing, so obviously there's...
Yeah. So I have Ronnie Ramirez round of 16. I know, and I don't have Gunnar Andrick in, by the way. Gunnar Andrick, a true freshman from West Virginia who just beat Ronnie Ramirez. I don't have him in, but I do have Ronnie in as round of 16, which for me, in my process, gives him 2 points. If you take those 2 points out and add Jax Forrest, and you add Jax Forrest conservatively, like what do you think would be a conservative, and this is for the people in the chat too, what do you think would be the most conservative value to give Jax Forrest? If you put Jax Forrest in the 133 field right now, what is the lowest that you think he could possibly take at NCAAs?
I think sixth is the absolute lowest. I think.
Do you think six is the absolute lowest? Do you think he could get beat by Kyler Larkin? Do you think he could get beat? Because I have Kyler Larkin, Tyler Knox in the blood round. Do you think he could get beat by one of those guys?
Like you have Drake Ayala 5. So if Forrest lost to a 2-time NCAA finalist and took sixth behind, if your order held, like if that was the fifth place match for some reason, it was Drake and Jax dropped that and took sixth, I feel like that's the lowest I would see him realistically, like conservatively.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I would put Jax ahead of Drake just because of like I would pick Jax over Drake, um, especially right now. Um, so for me, the lowest point I would put Jax is 5, and so hypothetically, you take out Ronnie Ramirez's 2, you insert Jax at 5, which gets 11. That's a 9-point move
Yep.
for Okie State, and that takes them to 90, 97, which gets them on, which would put them right in podium contention.
Yeah.
Would put them fifth, actually, 2 points behind Nebraska, and Nebraska still might. And Nebraska is weird because they're down from last year with almost the same core, but they even could be down lower, I think. Um, so for Nebraska, I have nothing at 25. I have an 8th place finish for Van D. I have a 2nd place finish for Brock Hardy, which could certainly be lower. I mean, he could take 5th, right? I have Chance Lamer taking 5th, and Chance Lamer, he's a complete unknown. He went 1-2 last year. He could certainly be lower. 157, Antrell Taylor, I have 3rd. He could certainly be lower. He lost to Brandon Cannon, who I have 6th. 165, I have LJ in the blood round. 174, I have Chris Minto, 5. I don't think you can drop Chris Minto any lower. 184, Silas, 7th, or 8th, or sorry, 6th. 197, Cam McDaniel blood round. AJ Ferrari, 2nd at heavyweight. So the point is, and this is the point I made from Jump Street. And I know we are half hour into this or an hour into this show, and we talked a lot about Crystall Ball, and we talked a lot about Jax Forrest and the team situation. And an hour into the show, here's the brass tacks. This is what I said when it got brought up. Should Jax go or should he not? Jax Forrest, conservatively, in the most conservative estimate, is a plus 10-point swing for Okie State. And a plus 10-point swing for Okie State right now takes them from 6th to podium contention. And that's what you need in the most conservative paradigm, in the most conservative estimation. Jax Forrest takes Oklahoma State from 6th to podium contention. And that's all you need to know on the decision if it's smart to wrestle Jax or not. And the answer is resounding yes. It is a smart decision. So.
And that is Crystall Ball. Go to rockfin.com/MadScouts. It'll be linked below in the description wherever you're watching or listening this, and you can go through it line by line. We are now getting close. We are on the precipice, as Willie likes to say. I'm not a big vocabulary guy, obviously, of hour 2 of the show. So I think it is time that we start previewing the massive weekend ahead.
One more thing, only because of the chat brought him up several times. And I would assume these are Okie State fans. I know Jay Hildreth was one of them, but there were other people. They are saying Alex Facundo is too low as a blood round guy, and I have Alex Facundo in the blood round, and there were multiple people in the chat saying that's too low. Like Alex Facundo is going to get on the podium. I don't know how you say with any certainty that Alex Facundo gets on the podium. I mean,
Yeah, I think
how are you getting to that conclusion? How are you getting to the conclusion that Alex Facundo is a lock for
the problem with that narrative of he's too low is that he went 1-4 at the national duels against top 10 guys. Or 1-3, sorry, against top 10 guys. He lost to Simon Ruiz, he lost to Matty Singleton, he lost to Patrick Kennedy, and he beat Chris Minto 2-1. Since then,
hold on. Yeah. Did he? He didn't have a takedown.
Yeah, he won 2-1
against no.
I know.
Any of them.
Yeah.
He wrestled 4 podium contenders, and he scored that many takedowns. And you're telling me he's a lock for the podium? Stop.
He's got to prove himself. He's got to.
Now, if you're going to tell me there's a different sentence in there that you might want to say, and the different sentence is he could beat any one of those guys. Yeah, I'm okay. Yeah, sure. He could beat those guys. But to say you're lowballing him that's not accurate.
Fair.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine if Ruiz couldn't take him down. It's fine if other.
Having good defense alone isn't enough. You got to couple that with great offense, or it's pointless.
He only gave up 3 takedowns. I know, but he lost 3 of them, and the one he won,
he didn't have a takedown.
He didn't have a takedown in. Listen, guys. I don't know.
You're when Willie starts rubbing his head, he's really just going through it.
Because I don't want to be condescending.
Then you can't say Okie State because they hate that.
That's not being condescending. That's just their proclivities. But here's the thing: you don't know ball. You don't know. Losing close to the top guys does not make you better than the top guys. Number 1, close losses aren't wins. You know that if they go to NCAAs and Alex Facundo basically just wrestled. Alex Facundo basically just wrestled an NCAA tournament, and he went 1-3 with 0 takedowns. But you're telling me he's a lock for the podium?
By the way,
they just basically wrestled that.
By the way, we will say
he had 0 takedowns.
I will say.
Number 2, here's another thing that you're failing to understand. That's not circumstantial. That's not like, oh, well, he just happened to lose. Next time he will reverse those things. Do you not know Alex Facundo? This is his DNA. This is what he does. He's really hard to take down, and he can't score on anybody. This is not National Duels was not an aberration. National Duels is what he's been his whole career. So I don't know where. Listen, you guys, I understand if you're an Okie State fan wearing these glasses.
Jericho in the chat is spot on. You guys are confusing not predicting him to AA means he can't. Correct.
Yeah, that's not.
There's a big difference between not predicting him to AA right now based on the past month and him being able to AA.
They don't do that. And if Alex Facundo places 6th, I'm sure these guys will be like, hey, Willie, remember that show that you said Alex Facundo couldn't AA? Never said that. I never said that. I never said Alex Facundo could not AA. I'm saying I don't have him right now. I'm saying he's not a lock. There's a difference between saying he can't and I don't predict him right now. So yes, you're right. We'll see. I can't believe that we're really on a topic where we're fighting about a 0-time AA. The audacity of predicting a 0-time AA to not AA. Okay, Justin.
Take a deep breath.
Okay, Justin, lead the show again.
All right, so that's Crystal Ball. Now, guys, the beautiful thing about Crystal Ball, whether you're talking about Facundo should be higher, whether you're talking about can Sergio Vega be higher, regardless of who you're talking about, PJ Duke, we have a great slate of ranked wrestling this weekend. There is a lot of matchups where guys can prove themselves this weekend. This is after all the past talk over the past 2 weeks about rankings, finally we can just let the guys wrestle this weekend. There is so much good wrestling that it's time to turn off the rankings hat for a minute and let's be fans of wrestling, because we have some great wrestling this weekend. Willie, I don't know if you want to kind of go through the weekend or if you want to highlight the better duels and then kind of fill in at the end with what else is this weekend. Obviously, we've got some big ones like Oklahoma State, Nebraska, Iowa State. Ohio State is two of the biggest ones that I'm looking at. And Penn State, Stanford, sneaky good duel. Obviously, I'm a Penn State fan, so I'm really looking forward to that one. But you tell me where you want to start, and we'll dive in.
Well, let's start with the premier matchups, and then we'll go just run down the rest of the weekend slate.
I like it.
You want to start with Okie State. Oh, sorry, guys. Sorry to the Oklahoma.
All right, so let's start with that. Let's start with number 5 Oklahoma State versus number 6 Nebraska. And I tweeted out last night as I was previewing for the show, Oklahoma State ran away with the national duels 33-6. And I'm like, yeah, but I feel like that wasn't Nebraska. I went to WrestleStat, and I'm curious what they had it. They have it tied 15-15 this time around. So this is going to be an awesome duel. It's 2 p.m. Eastern on Sunday, live on the Big Ten Network. Again, Oklahoma State ran away with it last time, but there's a path here for Nebraska, who has a very tough lineup, top to bottom, to make this a really competitive duel.
Yeah, I think you're spot on with your analysis. I think that Oklahoma State woodshedding Nebraska 33-6, like they did last month. I don't think that is probably a realistic expectation. I also don't think that WrestleStat, I think that's too much of a gap, but I think WrestleStat 16-16 is also too close of a margin.
Yeah.
I think it's somewhere in the middle. Nebraska, Nebraska wrestled the worst they have in 10 years. They had a bad day. A bad weekend. The wheels came off, and it just the momentum, and it was just bad. That doesn't mean that's what they're going to be all time going forward. So let's start off 125. Troy Spratley, Cale Lauritsen. That's heavy favorite. Troy Spratley. You give Spratley the win there. Now Spratley is not a huge bonus guy. I guess he could be in the range of bonus. Lauritsen's very good, very capable, and I don't think Spratley woodsheds him or takes him up, lets him down, or turns him a million times. But I think it's a sure win. I think Spratley could approach in the 3-point takedown era, 4-point near fall era. Let's just go Spratley for the sake of the argument. Let's just say Spratley wins 12-4. And that might be too much. But let's give Spratley – I'm going to give Spratley a 4 here.
Yeah,
okay?
I think that's fair.
Ronnie Ramirez versus Jacob Van D. We've seen the best of Ronnie – not the best. We've seen Ronnie Ramirez this year where –
with what he's capable of.
He's capable of, taking down Drake Ayala. He didn't, but he had a standing single. I mean, Ronnie Ramirez is very good. Okay, but we also seen him lose to a fellow true freshman just last week. I'm going to take Van D here by regular decision. And I think that's the right pick. So give me 4-3.
What's the odds we see Jax Forrest at this duel? I love that as soon as wrestling at this duel. Not there. He's very likely that he'll be at the duel.
Oh.
I saw one of the responses when I put the graphic out for this duel was, can't wait to see Jax wrestle this weekend.
Yeah. No, I think there's zero chance. I think there's zero.
Can we get that on Polymarket?
Yeah.
I want on Polymarket.
Do you play? Do you mess around with Polymarket?
You can't in the U.S.
Really?
Yeah, I would love to. I think Polymarket's awesome, but you can't in the U.S. I'm on the wait list for it.
You have to get on a wait list?
Basically, I think the wait list is when it opens up to the U.S.
Yeah, why would there be a wait list? Why not
Yeah.
just be an open registration?
He did. Correction. He did take down Drake.
He did? I remember him having a standing single. I don't remember take down. Okay. I am okay to be corrected. But yeah, I'll go Van D, and then man, it is hard for me. 141. It's hard for me to ever pick against Brock Hardy.
Of course, Husker Willie.
He's so damn technical. He's so damn technical. He might.
I'll make it easy for you though. I'll make it easy here. Sergio majored him. Like, until I see otherwise, like, that's such a strong win. It would not surprise me for Brock Hardy to win. Like, the reasons you're about to say, like, why he's so good and he's been proven consistent. But when Sergio majors him, like, that's hard to ignore, you know?
Well, agree. However, there also is... There are also one match weirdness things that happen. I mean, yeah, I'm not saying it was that. I'm saying, even if Sergio beats him, I wouldn't pick Major. Would you pick Major?
No, I wouldn't pick Major, but the fact that it was a 13-2 Major when the rest of the year, this isn't like Brock Hardy's off to a slow start. Brock Hardy has only had 2 losses to Sergio Vega and number 1 Jesse Mendez, 4-1. Every other match he's been in has been bonus. A bonus win, except for one 4-3 decision earlier in the year. The rest of it, it's major, tech, pin, tech, pin, tech. Like, Brock Hardy this year is looking like Brock Hardy. So it's not like, it was the first match of the year. Like, this... Brock Hardy seems like he's Brock Hardy, and it seems like one of those matches where it's not stocked down Brock Hardy at all, but this wasn't like he sucked all weekend and he was sick. Like, Sergio Vega beat him when he's having a season like Brock Hardy does, All
right, so let's go. I'll take Vega. Let's go Vega by I'm going Vega by decision.
Yeah, I think that's reasonable.
So right now I have it 7-3 Cowboys. So Dursky versus either Zinkin or Lamer. I'm gonna say it's Lamer, and I'm gonna take Lamer.
That'd be huge. If Lamer goes, I think Chance gets the win.
I'm waiting on the call. Maybe I get a text. Maybe during.
Can we call Snyder? Say you're live to tape. Hey, can we get a final verdict here? We're trying to do our preview show. We want to be accurate for the fans.
I'm gonna text him right now. We'll see if we get it. We'll see if we get a text.
In the meantime, Smith in the chat said it would not shock me if Hardy majored Vega this time around. It wouldn't shock me if Hardy won, but Sergio Vega is so damn good, I don't see anybody majoring him. I would be shocked to see him majored. Not that it can't happen, not that it won't happen, but he's just wrestling so good. I would be shocked right now to see him get majored.
I wouldn't. I wouldn't be shocked. I wouldn't be shocked in a 3-point takedown environment. I would not be shocked if Vega did what he did to Brock the first time, and Brock sort of couldn't figure out Vega's funkiness in the scrambles. And that's really weird because Brock is usually really good in the scrambles, but Vega is really good in scrambles and
awesome scrambler.
And so if they get into these scramble situations and Vega wins 3 scrambles to 0, or Vega wins 3 scrambles out of 4, I can see it getting into bonus point territory for Vega. Conversely, Brock is crazy good at, like, you're in on a leg and Brock ends up in a cradle.
Great point by Not a Wrestler in the chat. Vega's given up 0 takedowns this year. For him to get majored would be shocking. I agree. That's, like, it would not surprise me for Vega to, if Hardy got a win here, but it would surprise me, regardless of styles, to see Vega majored.
Yeah, I don't know. Listen, Brock Hardy is a guy who's taken down Jesse Mendez multiple times. Brock Hardy took down Jesse Mendez and put him on his back in the first period.
Yeah, I'm not saying it can't happen. I'm just
if you're telling me Sergio Vega can't take a shot and Brock cut the corner and cradle him or do some funky stuff and put him on his back, you didn't watch wrestling. I'm not saying it will happen. I'm saying if you can't imagine that, that is a very plausible scenario. Anyway, I will take Vega by decision. 7-3. I have Lamer winning. Now, if it's Zinkin, I'll take Swiderski to win. If it's Lamer, I'll take Lamer to win. And I think there's a lot going on with that. If you want to say, well, Willie, what's your analysis on Lamer? Why would you take Lamer over Swiderski? Lamer was 1-2 at NCAAs last year, yada, yada, yada. You could see the pro. You could definitely see a pro. I don't think you're crazy if you pick Casey Swiderski to beat Chance Lamer. I don't think that's crazy. But Casey has not been wrestling his best. So we're taking not the greatest version of Casey right now. And we're taking Lamer, and here's my point here. We are taking Lamer that is a rabid dog on a leash that has not been able to wrestle. And he is dying to get his hands on somebody.
But to be fair, counterpoint to that, first of all, with Lamer and Zinkin, it was a 7-6 match at National Duels. So it's not like it's Swiderski by any means next topic. If it's
Swiderski and Zinkin.
That's what I said. What did I say?
Lamer, Zinkin.
Oh, yeah, whatever. So it was a 7-6 match. So even if it's Swiderski and Zinkin, like it's still going to be a dogfight. And the only counterpoint to Lamer being like a dog on a leash ready to attack is, can he control the emotions? Can you settle in? Like that's the counterpoint to 100%. Nerves, emotions. You know what I mean? That's what.
100%. Can you right? And you want to get out there, but when you get out there, do you manage that right?
Correct. And this for Nebraska to keep it close, Willie. This is a must-win Nebraska, regardless of who they put out. This is a must-win. They have to have this match.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know if he put anything in a home match, but Swiderski's home. He's going to be freshly released. Casey has. I don't know if you call it faded late in matches or mismanaged matches. Casey always finds a way. To have close matches.
Yeah.
And so I'll take Lamer. And so that would make it 7-6. Robideau and Trell, again, a lot like Vega Hardy, with the exception that we've seen that before. You have a returning national finalist against an upstart blue chip freshman. There are occasions where Robideau makes a mistake or something, but he's been a prolific scorer against everybody. He's been putting up points, I think with the exception of maybe one match. And Antrell, frankly, didn't look like himself at national duels against anybody, including Logan Rosinski. I think Antrell could win, but I'll take Robideau.
Yeah, I'm going to take Robideau too. I agree with everything you said. I think Robideau has a lot of momentum, and he just looks so awesome.
He looks amazing, and not to disrespect Antrell by taking a freshman over the reigning national champion. That's sort of a little disrespectful. But that's what I'm taking right now. And I think for other people to say on the other side of the coin, to say that Antrell can't win this match, that's very much in play. Antrell can win this match. Antrell has beaten Meyer Shapiro and Joey Blaze.
The national champ.
Antrell Taylor for about, I don't know, 5 minutes of a 6 minute match was sort of having his way with PJ Duke. Okay. Put it that way. He was up like 9-4 or something like that. So Antrell Taylor, you're crazy if you think Antrell Taylor can't win this match, but I'll take Robidoux. I'll take Robidoux. I also think Antrell presents some stylistic matchups that might be a problem for Robidoux in that Antrell's really good at getting upper body stuff, and I don't know how comfortable Robidoux will be in those situations. Antrell's very take a shot, get to a leg, the guy defends, Antrell comes up into a body lock.
Yeah.
And that's always tricky situations for anybody, especially a true freshman. So watch for those situations. But I will take Robidoux, and that would be 9-10, 10-6. D Lockett, Araju. I take D, but I take D by regular decision. 13-6. D. Now, D has wrestled a really tough schedule. I was about to say D hasn't been scoring a whole heck of a lot, but he's been wrestling a lot of elite guys. That being said, I don't see D turning him. LJ is very good on the mat. He can ride, which at the very least chew up some clock. So I'm saying regular decision. I'm saying regular decision 13-14. 13-6. 13-6 going into 174. I'm sure you got D, right? But you got D by regular decision?
Yeah, I got the same thing. I think D is just looking so dominant.
All right, Facundo, Minto. To me, I don't know. I'm taking Minto. I'm taking Minto. It was 2-1 last time, no takedown. I thought Facundo wrestled like Facundo, and I think Minto wrestled awful. And I think Minto was absolutely pissed off at himself. And so I'm taking Minto.
I'm taking Facundo for the same reasons. I think Facundo's pissed off at himself. I think Facundo knows he's capable of more. He's been wrestling better. He's been scoring more ever since the collegiate duels. And I know the collegiate duels where he really saw, obviously, that tough competition. But since the collegiate duels, he's gone Tech 21 points, Major 18 points, Tech 19 points, Tech 17 points, Tech 20 points. And I know this is where Willie goes, the competition, whatever. I don't care. He's in a rhythm. He's got some momentum going. I'm bullish that he's going to rebound here. I'm bullish that he's going to beat Minto, and he's scoring a takedown this time.
Okay. I completely disagree. I think it's Minto, and I think it's Minto all day. I think the pick here is Minto all day. Once again, I'm not saying that Facundo cannot win this match. I'm saying, to me, this is an easy pick. I'm picking Minto, which would make it, what do I have, 16-9? No, or is it 13-9? 7, 10, 13. I have a 13-9 going to Zach Ryder, Silas Allred. God, this is an insane match to pick. Dealer's choice. Allred, Ryder. To me, Ryder is a little offensively challenged, but he's incredibly hard to score on. I think that Allred is a double-edged sword in scrambles. He sometimes is really good in scrambles, and he's actually really good in scrambles, but sometimes he makes weird decisions. And I think it comes down to a scramble and who wins the scramble, which means to me, like, who the hell knows? But, Ryder has lost some weird matches.
I know.
I mean,
See, this is one where this is why it's annoying when you don't give guys credit that tech when they should get techs. Because I do think, like, I know you're at this point. I know you don't give credit to people when they tech who they should tech. But counterpoint, here you have Ryder's last couple of matches. He beat Ian Bush 2-1. He beat Thomas Sandoval 7-2. Those are guys in my book he should probably tech or major. So I think when
he's just not built that way.
I understand what you're saying, but I think
that's why I vaulted. See, here's a perfect example. All-star match. Zack Ryder. This is the dangers. Here are the dangers. What you're talking about? Sergio Vega majored Brock Hardy, and Brock Hardy tech this scrub and tech that scrub and majored this scrub, and who cares about the scrubs? It's sample size. You can't take a small sample size and repopulate it, reproduce it. It's say that is now the thing. Zack Ryder goes out there and works Jackson Smith and looks really good offensively. And my reaction to it, counter to what I typically do, is, okay, Zack Ryder has now hit another offensive level. Zack Ryder can now score. Zack Ryder is now supremely offensive. And that proved to be just one match because he didn't score against Ian freaking Bush.
Yeah, he's only got 2 bonus wins all year. He's not after. I agree. Like, it looked like he was going to be, very offensive all year, and it was kind of, we tell fans on the show often to pump the brakes, and we kind of tell ourselves that after that.
Yeah. So Silas won this in national duels, right?
In overtime, yeah.
So it's a toss-up match to me. Yeah, give me Silas. Give me Silas. Which makes it 13-12 going to 2 weights. This is probably way too low, but 13-12 and maybe way too tight. I mean, I gave Nebraska a toss-up at.
You're giving them every toss-up.
Minto Facundo's not a toss-up. I mean,
it was a 2-1 match the last time they wrestled.
And it's not a toss-up in a pick situation.
Facundo won 2-1, and you think it's a guaranteed lock the other way this time? How's that? No. That's the definition of a toss-up.
I don't think it's a guaranteed. I guess maybe it's a toss-up.
It's a toss-up if it's not guaranteed. This is the way I look at it.
I don't know. There's difference between expected outcome and pick. Like the pick. Like
the. But for the pick to be reversed from the last time they wrestled is a guaranteed. Like, if you're going to reverse the pick, it has to be more of a toss-up, in my opinion. I view Minto Facundo.
All right, whatever. I gave Nebraska all the toss-ups.
Oscar Willie.
I only have Nebraska winning 3 matches, but I gave them all the toss-ups. I guess. How is that possible?
Yep. Wait, did you pick Sergio? Because that could be considered a toss-up.
No, I picked Sergio.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So that was one that you could consider a toss-up based on Brock's career, even though we're picking Big U.
I picked Oklahoma State to beat 2 NCAA finalists. I'm not giving Nebraska all the toss-ups, for Christ's sake.
Where's the straw hat?
Okay. So it's 13-12. We're going to 97. Cody Merrill versus Cam McDaniel, number 7 versus number 12. Remind me of how this match went at National Duels. It was a Cody Merrill win, but it was super close, correct?
2-1 match in OT that went Cody Merrill's way.
Cam McDaniel just lost to
Evan Bates. Yep.
And that's where I draw the line. That's where I'm like, that makes me make this pick. In conjunction, like, I think that Cam McDaniel can certainly win this match. If it was a 2-1 match last time, he can certainly win this time. But if you can't score a takedown on Evan Bates, I don't know if you can score a takedown on Cody Merrill. Give me Cody Merrill.
Yeah, I'm going Merrill because McDaniel has not looked good against top 10, top 15 guys. He got teched by Max Stout. He just lost to Evan Bates. He lost to Merrill at the national duels. He does have a win over Seth Shumate, 8-2. It was probably his best win of the year. So I agree that it was such a close match last time, but I'll go Merrill, given that he won last time, sticking with that theme of he just got the win. And I don't think McDaniel is wrestling as good as he should be.
Yeah. Merrill's very interesting because he wrestles a ton of close matches. Tons. Like, he wrestles close matches against guys he should kill. He wrestles close matches against guys that are ranked ahead of him. I mean, the Endine match was close. Hell, in the duel against Stanford, he needed a last-second miracle to beat a true freshman.
I was just going to say, and that Angelo Posada, shout out Jorge Posada.
By the way, that's not a knock on Angelo Posada. I love that kid. I freaking love that kid. I
love Posada.
I had Posada high on my big board before anybody knew who the hell he was. He ended up final number 13 on my big board. That's how much I love him. So I am not saying that I'm not poo-pooing that win or Angelo Posada. I'm just saying he damn near lost.
Well, and that's where I was going to say too is, it's funny. It's one of those weights where it's like, I just said that McDaniel doesn't really have a signature win yet this season. Either does Cody Merrill, really. I mean, he lost to Endine. It was a tight 4-3 match. Apart from that, Posada's probably his best win, if not McDaniel. Like, that was probably ranking-wise. McDaniel was his best ranking win, but a 2-1 win like that isn't exactly, I don't think, your best win of the year.
McDaniel's body of work is small, right? Because he's just a sophomore. He's just starting a sophomore year. But he had a really weird year last year, a year in which he AA'd at a really deep. I mean, remember last year we were talking about how deep 197 was. Yeah. I mean, it was really loaded with Stephen Buchanan and AJ Ferrari and Jacob Cardenas and of course Josh Barr and a couple other guys. Novak, Stephen Little, right? It was a loaded weight, and Cam McDaniel made that podium. Cam McDaniel made a podium in which we talked all year about how deep 197 was. That being said, if you look at his ledger, it is a lot like we were talking about Cross Wisniewski from Penn, and you're going to say, what the hell are you talking about, Willie? Why are we bringing up Cross Wisniewski? Cross Wisniewski's record was something like, I don't know, 30-6 last year, right? So you're saying, wow, that's incredible. Well, but he didn't beat anybody.
Yeah.
He didn't beat anybody elite. And that's kind of how Cam McDaniel was. He was like something like that. He was like 20-something and 6. He didn't have a whole lot of losses. But he didn't beat any elite guys. And so you take a Cam McDaniel who was a pretty good prospect, junior world team member, junior world medalist, All-American and super deep weight, but he didn't, for some reason, hit a whole lot of high-level head-to-heads. Okay, so anyway, I'm going Merrill, 16-12, Oklahoma State going to heavyweight, where we have number 7, Connor Doucette, against number 4, AJ Ferrari.
It's funny you said that WrestleStat probably has us a little bit too close. I mean, you almost have it spot on to what they have. If you have Ferrari winning here, you're going to have it 16-15.
Man, yeah. That's true.
Now AJ beat Connor 2-1. It was a very close match. So I don't think this called a toss-up match. Like, it's a close match last time. I think it's gonna be a close match again.
Yeah, maybe a little familiarity. Connor Doucette is certainly a different guy this year. You know, this is to me in the same vein of. Well, no, I guess it's a little different. Uh, Close match. I mean, here's the thing: the pick is AJ, right? The pick's AJ.
The pick is absolutely AJ by your own logic of Connor Doucette is manhandling guys he should absolutely be manhandling. But if you're not going to give him credit for that, his only loss this year is his only top, only top 10 guy I think he's wrestled, which is AJ. I think AJ's the pick here.
So it's kind of weird. 16-15. I have Okie State taking it. I think you have it. I don't think you gave Spratley a bonus point. So did you give Spratley a bonus point? Because if you didn't give,
yeah, I think Spratley gets bonus.
But
16-15. But you did 16-15.
You have 19-12.
Yeah, I don't think it's as close as Husker really thinks. Shocker.
Well, I'll tell you. The only difference is
the Facundo Minto match.
Match.
Which is a toss-up, yeah. It's crazy that's the funny thing about, like, you talk betting lines and wrestling and how funny it is. Like, one match going one way, regular decision is a 6-point swing. And you go real quick from 16-15 to 19-12. It's crazy.
Yeah. And so I think it's one of those duels where there is certainly a path for Nebraska. I mean, the world wouldn't fall on its head if Brock Hardy beat Sergio Vega, right? In my model, it's 16-15 Oklahoma State. If Brock Hardy beats Sergio Vega, Nebraska wins the duel. Even if Vega wins, if Cam McDaniel beats Cody Merrill, the world doesn't go crazy.
Right.
So there is a path for Nebraska. I think it's one of those duels where one team has a path, the other team has to hold serve, and conversely, Oklahoma State could end up with a 25-8 win. 25-9, 25-9 say. So it's one of those duels like that. It's going to be a great duel. Premier matchups. 7 versus unranked, 21 versus 8, 2 versus 3, 17 versus 5, 2 versus 6, 2 versus 10, 13-6, 10-9, 7-12, 7-4. So a lot of premier matchups. Both of us have Okie State getting the win.
So funny. We're going to have to put the clip of before we started previewing the duel with you saying WrestleStat probably has it too close. And then,
right.
And then morph the clip to you saying, I got it 16-15. Yeah. And then do the square dancing video or that dancing video of you and the Husker.
Yeah.
Oh, man. All right. So that's Oklahoma State, Nebraska. Another awesome duel. I think it's Sunday at 4. Is Ohio State versus Iowa State. Another banger there.
Oh, I love it. And I hope everybody's healthy. I hope everybody's healthy because I want to see this duel go down, and I want to see the elite head-to-heads, and for Iowa State. For Iowa State, can they once again make noise? They are in a stretch here where they could go win against the Hawkeyes, locking up a CKLV title very early, beating national duels champs. They could do that in the span of a month. How awesome would that be for Iowa State?
It's so funny how much of it is just teams lining up. I was talking to somebody the other day about Penn State and how even the best of squads, like here's a case like in this duel where, you have Etchemendia is really good, but he's the 3-4 and Mendez is the 1. You have You have
right?
you have Evan Frost, who's top 5, but then you have Ben DeVino just above him. Like
Yeah,
Ohio State just matches up that much better in those
yeah,
weights to where it's like,
yeah. That's a there again is the difference in dual versus tournament, right? Because in a duel in a duel, Mendez gets 3 points and Iowa State gets absolutely 0 points.
right.
Absolutely 0 points for a guy that's, you know, probably projected to take at least top 5 in the country. And so one team gets 3, team gets 0. In a tournament, it would be like Mendez getting 22 and Echmedia getting 15, which is pretty significant. Um, so it highlights that too. You
By the
get
way, it
0.
goes without saying as we head into this next elite duel after recapping the last elite duel, if we don't get these matches Monday, we're rioting.
Yeah.
Monday we're rioting. If we don't,
Did you see West Virginia's post about the Beauty and the Beast matchup?
yeah, I saw your response to it.
So so Ty Waters didn't wrestle Robideau last week, and then West Virginia this week puts out a graphic of Beauty and the Beast. They're having a home duel alongside the women's gymnastics team, and Ty Waters is featured on that graphic, and so it's a little like, like, you know, you didn't wrestle last week, but you're going to wrestle a lesser opponent this week, and so that invites a little criticism. But
By the way, he did wrestle last weekend. He just didn't wrestle Sunday because he wrestled Friday night, didn't wrestle Sunday, and now it would appears based on advertising that he's going to wrestle now. But
yeah, all right. So let's get into it. I'm going to admit I'm flying blind here. I haven't looked at the matchups. I have no preconceived notions coming in who I'm going to
it's
have.
Ohio State. It's Ohio State big.
Is
I
it?
think when
Is it?
as tough as Iowa State is, Ohio State just We'll go through the matchups, but Ohio State just matches up really, really well with them. Let's go
So
through and see.
here's the thing. It's Ohio State. So it's at 4 p.m. It's at
It's
4 p.m. Why is that significant? Can you tell me why that's significant? Anybody in the chat tell me why it's significant?
because the Bills play at 1, so it's after the Bills Browns game.
That is not why it's significant. Anybody in the chat, can you tell me why it's significant that it's at 4 p.m.?
Buzakis, weigh in.
Boom. Boom. They're going to get to weigh in at like 10 in the morning. Right? I don't know what time weigh-ins are, but they have matches prior to this. So they're going to Buzakis is going to have a long time to recover from weigh-ins, which is much different than stepping off the scale and wrestling first match versus a top 15 opponent in Steve-O Pullen. So therefore, give me right off the scale, I still might take Buzakis, but long time rest weigh-in Buzakis, give it to me without much thought. Give me Nick Buzakis over Steve-O Pullen. I'll keep it to a regular decision. 3-0. It would be interesting to see Nick Buzakis, even though it's a long time off the scale. It would be interesting to see Nick Buzakis in the third period against a top 15 All-American, right? How does your energy level in the third period against a guy? Because we didn't get to really see that against Dean Peterson because it was a quick pin. So give me Buzakis, give him to me regular decision. Ben DeVino, Evan Frost. Here's another case, man. Evan Frost, absolute stud, but DeVino has looked the part. He's looked like the guy. This is a match that Iowa State really needs to have. I'm gonna take DeVino. I
Same.
just think the kid's a juggernaut, and But really, am I disrespecting Frost right now?
I don't think so. I'm going Davino. I think, Ohio State has a lot of options at 25. And I think we haven't seen Davino as much as we probably otherwise would if they didn't have other options there that were kind of being mixed in the lineup. So
Yeah.
I don't think you're disrespecting Frost. I think Davino has earned the respect that.
I mean, Frost is a returning All-American. He beat the returning national finalist. Uh, I might be disrespecting Frost a little bit.
Okay,
Picking the truth.
let me make a counterpoint. Davino 11-0 on the year. Davino took out Drake Ayala 10-4, the returning national finalist.
Okay.
So
Okay. So
I
they both have a win over Drake. So that's justifiable. Okay. So I have it 6-0. Man, a little part of me kind of wanted to take Frost to keep the close.
I
too,
know
but
this is what I'm saying. If you're being honest, like that's why I'm here. Like Etchemendy and Mendez is going to be a dogfight, but Mendez is the pick.
yeah, Mendez is the pick 9-0. I mean, there isn't much more to say about it. I think the world of Anthony Etchemendia, but I think that Jesse Mendez is Jesse Mendez the number one pound for pound guy in the country.
It's
Him
I,
or
it's him or
him.
Messenbrink, yeah.
Well, from an NCAA ledger, like if you have to go wins, losses, if you have to go credentials, then I think it's him, Mesenbrink. From a pure,
Flo actually has Messenbrink number one overall. I actually agreed with their pound for pound. They had Messenbrink, Mendez, Haynes, Bird, Ferrari as their top
okay,
five.
so this is where I'm at. I think Mendez, I can get on board with Mendez number one pound for pound. I think it's him or Mesenbrink. Although, didn't Mendez have a loss last year or no? No.
I
Let
thought
me
he
see.
didn't he swap with Brock?
Yeah. I'll look it up, but I
He
thought
has
that's
3 losses last year. He lost to Bo Bartlett in the duel. He lost to Brock Hardy at Big Tens, and then Bo Bartlett at
well, how. So that ranking's horrible.
what
That rank,
having.
that ranking is absolutely atrocious.
What would you do then? Have Messenbrink the one? Who was the two?
How can you how can you have Mendez over Mesenbrink? Did, how, what?
They don't. Messenbrink is their one.
Oh. I
It was
thought you said
Messenbrink 1, Mendez 2, Levi 3, Lucas Bird 4, Ferrari 5.
Yeah, that's right. I get on board with that. 100%.
Yeah.
I thought you said they had Mendez one. So that's the pound for pound ranking kind of based on process. If I was saying pound for pound based just sheer objectivity, just who is the best pound for pound, I think Levi deserves a lot of consideration.
100%. 100%.
Because I mean, big deal. He lost a match to Hamidi. The dude just made the finals of the Senior World Championships. Okay, sorry about that sidebar. Mendez. So it's 9-0. Styles, Frost. This is one I could see Jacob Frost winning, but both guys have been a little enigmatic. Styles to me would be the easy pick if he didn't lose early in the season to two guys he has no business losing to. That being said, he's kind of been fine ever since. Maybe it was first week blues. And Eli Rivera kind of, I don't want to say he chewed Jacob Frost up, but he beat him pretty soundly, right?
Yeah, I think so.
So give me Styles, and now it's 12-0, and this
is what I'm saying. It's crazy, but I mean, Ohio State, I think they're favored rankings wise. They have the higher ranked guy at 7 of the 10 matches. So it's like,
does Zach Bogle even acknowledge this duel?
we might need a Zach call in just to hype up the Ohio State fans. Because listen, I'm a big Ohio State fan, but we might. I mean,
Zach, this is Sunday at 4. I will be free. If you need a helpline, you got my number. You can call. I will offer assistance. I will offer help.
The worst thing heading to this duel for Bogle is if the Bears beat the Packers Saturday night. And so here the Packers lose Saturday night, and then you have this. Oof. Yeah, so keep going now. Like, so
I know, and it's getting off the rails. Cannon, Zerbin.
Now, this was a match at NCAA's that Zerbin won 11-6, but Brandon Cannon this year also is looking awesome. It's a tough one for me to pick. I think I'd go Brandon Cannon, even though Zerbin got the win at NCAA's, but, I mean, Brandon Cannon just looks so damn good this year.
I don't know who to pick here. Cannon also with a win over reigning champ Antrell Taylor.
His only loss is to Melvin Miller. Crazy stat.
Who Jaden James just beat, by the way.
Yep.
Let's get Iowa State on the board here. Let's get Iowa State on the board. Let's go at 12-3. I'll take Zerbin. I have no idea why, but give me Zerbin.
Okay, keeping it interesting.
Patty Gallagher, Connor Uten. There's a lot of Uten hype, but he was injured, and there was hype coming into last year. Then he got hurt right away. Then he rehabs, and there's hype for Uten coming into this year, and he didn't look great against Iowa, and also tweaked something else. Patty, on the other hand, has had some pretty high moments and no real lows. His losses have been highly circumstantial, stall calls on the edge. To me, it's Patty all day.
Yeah, I think it's Patty, too. I mean, the last time we saw Connor was he lost.
This is out of hand.
What?
This is out of hand.
It's crazy. It's nuts. I'm telling you, the matchup. And so the last time we saw Connor, he got teched by Caliendo 20-5, and we haven't seen him since. So, I think Patty's the pick here.
All right. But Pat, I mean, dang, you're right. We don't even really have to labor on this. Give me Karchla all day. Give me Fishback all day. And then give me Elam and Younger. And so it's like 7 matches to 3. And
that's what I'm saying. Isn't that crazy? For
yes.
I mean, it's wild. But yeah, I think Ohio State runs away with it.
Yeah, I mean,
but it's still like it's kind of a facetious commentary because the duel's Ohio State's likely gonna run away with it. But there's gonna be awesome matches. I want to watch all 10 matches.
There's no way that Iowa State can pull enough upsets to win this duel, but you have to see you have to watch every match.
Correct.
Because they're good.
Because again, this wrestling is not a team sport; it's an individual sport. So everybody wants to see these matches. They want to see Mendez at Echemendia, not because of the team score of the duel, because
this duel is a perfect example of why to tell the people that advocate for national duels. Oh, duels are better than individual. Oh yeah, why is this duel better than individual? The duel outcome's set. Forget about it. Ohio State wins this duel. So you're telling me you're not going to tune in because it's a foregone conclusion? Because you tell me, oh, I lose interest in the NCAA tournament because the team race is over. Well, I'll tell you right now, the team race is over here. You're still going to watch.
We're all tuning in.
Yeah. All right. Other matchups this weekend.
So another good duel, sneaky good duel that, again, it has absolutely nothing to do with the outcome, but just a good duel, is Penn State-Stanford. I believe that's – let me see what time is that. I think that's Saturday night, 7 o'clock or 6 o'clock. What time do you have in parentheses here? What do you have, Eastern first? Obviously, yeah, never mind. That's a stupid question. All right, so Penn State, 7 o'clock Eastern, Stanford. There's going to be some really good matchups in there. We're going to have number 10, Marcus Blaze, versus number 6, Tyler Knox, a first top 10 opponent, I believe, for Blaze. Luke Lilladal will face Nico Provo. Nico Provo always brings the heat, ranked 12th right now. PJ Duke gets a shot at the top 5 opponent in Daniel Cardenas. Shane Van Ness, Aiden Valencia. I know Aiden Valencia is ranked 14th, but Aiden Valencia is a wild card. His ranking's usually not accurate of what he's capable of. So I think Shane Van Ness, Aiden Valencia is going to be very good. And I know everything's Messenbrink next topic, but it's a top 10 matchup, Messenbrink versus Hunter Garvin as well. So
Hunter Garvin's truly one of my favorite guys to watch. That's not like if you ask people who's your favorite guy to watch, 95 people out of 100 are going to pick either somebody that is ranked 1 or 2 in America, or somebody that does crazy stuff like MJ Gatan. For me, Hunter Garvin's one of my favorite non-superstars to watch. I like the way he wrestles. I like the way he competes.
Yeah. So again, it's not going to be that close of a duel, I don't think. But you're also going to have either Conor Marasola, Josh Barr versus Angelo Posada, who Willie loves the Posadas, whether it's Angelo or Jorge. So fun duel there. Will be interesting to see, Willie, who Penn State wrestles at 141 here.
Yeah.
But
tough Consiglio from Stanford.
It'd be a good matchup for where Desmond is at 141 to be a good match for him. So we'll see. So that's Penn State. What?
I'll tell you after the show. Vincenzo Joseph's texting me right now.
He needs to calm down. Aaron Rodgers does not have it. Tell him to just. All right, so that's Penn State Stanford Saturday night. Couple other good matchups I hear: Zan Fugit versus Kyler Larkin, Wisconsin Arizona State. Younger Bastida versus Nathan Taylor in the Iowa State Lehigh duel. Those are a couple of good ones. That's a lot of what's on my radar.
You have a Wisconsin nugget in there, and I want to see Zan Larkin. I think it's a really good match for both guys because I think Kyler needs more matches against proven guys like Zan, and I think Zan needs to get back on track because he had a great great end to the year last year, and he stumbled a couple times early this year. But just thinking about Wisconsin, what's your opinion? Because I got him in to the podium now on Crystal Ball. What's your opinion on Braxton Amos in the heavyweight field?
Man, I'm kind of torn. You know how usually it's you that's telling me I need to see a bigger sample size, and normally it's me kind of putting a light on minute details or smaller sample pools. I feel like that's kind of where I'm at with Braxton Amos right now. Like, Christian Carroll is somebody I'm very bullish on. Braxton Amos, I'm still kind of like wait and see.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty comfortable in taking Braxton to be a high performer. I mean, like floor of blood round. And I think he even gets on it. When I was doing Crystal Ball, it occurred to me, this version of Braxton Amos. I mean, who would you take right now, Braxton Amos or Ben Keeter? It's a thing, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean Braxton's looked good. So he lost to Younger Bastida by a point. He held him to a very close match. And that could be because they trained together, like that. They're former teammates. Again, that's why I said small sample pool. He also hasn't really wrestled anybody that good outside of that one match. So he looks good. Everything's been majors and pins, but we also haven't seen him yet. And I mean, him and Keto will wrestle January 9th. So
He looks, but he looks the part.
him and Christian
Um,
Carroll both. I think they're both at the right place at the right weight, and they're both coming into their own.
yeah, I don't know. Braxton's an interesting cat to me because I think there are athletes who wrestle. I think there are athletes who wrestle, and I think there are wrestlers who are athletic.
Sure.
And I think Braxton's a wrestler, like high IQ, very good technique, and also athletic. And I think I like him. I like him.
Listen, by the end of January, we'll have a much better accurate representation in my.
But you also have to, you lose a little something when you say Braxton held Younger to a close decision. That doesn't tell the whole story.
I agree. 100%. I
To
agree.
say Braxton led the match. Braxton
Yeah.
took down Younger and led the match with 30 seconds to go.
I knew exactly where you're going. I don't disagree. To me, it's kind of like chalk it up to former teammates wrestling. There's always wonky results. There's always like things are closer, things happen in it. I agree. Again, the problem here is he has not wrestled the top 20 guy outside of Younger. So, and that's going to change because as soon as the Big Ten season starts, he's going to see Ben Keeter in the Iowa duel. He's going to see Coy Hopke in the Minnesota duel. He's going to see Nick Feldman in the Ohio State duel. So, he's also like he in January when he starts wrestling Big Ten competition more often. I feel like we're gonna get it's just like I know I might be contradicting myself because I sometimes say like, well, he's pinning and majoring everybody he should be pinning and majoring, but it's also like we haven't seen him at heavyweight against the top 20 guy, except from Younger, who I agree with. He did lead him and he did get a takedown and.
It is kind of you're going against your typical mantra of he's killing everybody, and I'm going against
Right.
my typical mantra of he's killing everybody, but who cares because they're not good. I to me when I watch him, I'm like I don't care that this guy's not elite, that he's beaten up. I see what he's doing, and like he's gonna be fine against the elite.
Yeah.
So.
Well, it'll be good. Do you want to do a real quick rundown of what else is this weekend?
No, I mean the RAF card is. Oh yeah, let's do the rest of college. Yes, I see what you're saying. Okay, Thursday night, Lock Haven, Wisconsin, American, Michigan State, Utah Valley, Wisconsin. I'm gonna watch that one. I think that'll be pretty good. I think the Lock Haven, Wisconsin match will be fun too. I like watching Lock Haven. So Lock Haven wrestles Wisconsin Thursday night, and Lock Haven, and then they go to Northwestern wrestle them Friday night. Nebraska, we talked about Nebraska, Oklahoma State, and this is sort of a nice tune-up. We'll get to see what Nebraska looks like because Friday night they wrestle North Carolina. Oregon State against Northern Illinois also on Friday night. Saturday, Kent State Open. Not a whole lot of D1 schedules have Kent State Open on their list, but I'm going to be interested in seeing what red shirts go, what non-starters go. It usually draws some good names, maybe even some high schoolers. Edinburgh, Pitt, Arizona State, Wisconsin. That's Larkin Fugit. North Dakota State against Stanford. North Dakota State against Penn State. Penn State against Stanford. We went over those matches. Sunday, Reno, TOC, Cal Poly, Cal Baptist, Oregon State, Wyoming. All at Reno. Cornell versus Illinois. That's a good one. That's a real good one.
Yeah.
That should be a real competitive duel. Man, that's actually really tasty. Little Rock against Ohio State. Oklahoma State against Nebraska. We went over that. North Carolina at Northern Iowa. That should be a fun duel. Illinois versus Lehigh. So sad we don't have Lucas Bird versus Ryan Crookham. Iowa State versus Ohio State, 4 p.m. Cornell, Little Rock, Ohio, Iowa State, Lehigh. Too bad no Etchemendia Stanich. That is Sunday. That's your Sunday slate. That's your full weekend college slate. So Penn State wrestles Stanford at 7 p.m. Saturday at that same time. Will be RAF 4 here in beautiful Fishers, Indiana, where I am right now. Andy Varela against Jason Nolf. I talked to Nolf quite a while last night. I'm interested in that match. I'm not a big fan. You've heard me talk about it before. I'm not a crazy big fan of some of the gimmick matches, but I am interested in the how it looks thing. Okay, so David Carr, Bilal Muhammad's on this card. And Bilal Muhammad, if you don't know, wrestling fans, Bilal Muhammad's like a big deal in MMA. And I'm like, that's one that, attracts eyeballs, gets some MMA fans over, and it's just a fun kind of deal. I don't know why, but David Carr wanted him. Like a lot of these wrestlers,
I think it's a cool opportunity to square off against a top MMA opponent.
If you talk in talking with a lot of the RAF guys that we have signed, who do you want to wrestle? I want to wrestle this MMA guy. I want to wrestle MMA guy. I want a UFC guy. They all want these UFC guys, which is they're cool if you sprinkle them in, right? I don't want to see a whole card of them. But there's only one of them on this card, so yeah, give them to me. It'll be fun, and it'll pull some new eyeballs into the sport of wrestling. That being said, I'm not all jazzed up to see how it looks because David's gonna kill him. That is the opposite of how I feel about Andy Varela against Jason Nolf. Now, Jason Nolf, certainly the better wrestler, but I'm interested to see. I really want to see elite grapplers versus wrestlers. I'm into that. I want to because we always see the other way.
Yeah,
we always see these former wrestlers go to jiu-jitsu, and in the UFC, that's something we see all the time. What we don't see is, hey, dude, come over here with us. See how you do in our scoring system, in our format, with our rules. And so this is pretty cool. Jason and Andy are very well known. I don't know all these things. I know a little bit about jiu-jitsu, and I know who the major superstars are. Don't know a whole heck of a lot about their techniques. But I was talking with Jason. I was like, how well do you know him? He's like, oh, we were just rolling around back there for 2 hours. They're very familiar with each other. And Jason told me, I said to him, I said, I'm interested in this matchup. I like the jiu-jitsu guys coming over. And he was like, yeah, Willie, for me, he's like, at one point in my career, he's like, I literally started going to jiu-jitsu because I was tired of wrestling the same dudes. It was boring. He's like, for years, I was wrestling the same guys every freaking time. He's like, I'm not interested in that. I want different feels. I want to try something new. And because wrestling for him in the structure that he was in 2 years ago, the structure that we had 2 years ago, it was always, okay, go to the U.S. Open, you're going to see the X, Y, and Z. And next year, you're going to see that. And every event is the same guys. He literally left wrestling. He literally dipped his toes in other waters just for new experiences. And so if we can get those jiu-jitsu guys to come wrestle, keep the interest of Jason Nolf and give David Carr a reason to. David Carr's not interested in wrestling, I don't know, Evan Wick every 3 months. You know what I mean? So this is an opportunity for him to still wrestle and still keep his fire going. But beyond that, there's really, really legit matches on this card and matches that have worldwide implications. Cardenas Hidley's, Cardenas is a little bit bigger. Trent is the world champion, Right, that's a really great matchup. Parker Keckeisen, Zahid Valencia, world champion. Um, Dean Hamidi against Evan Wick for the title. Evan Wick with you know, on one hand, when Evan Wick made Final X, is against Levi Haynes. Levi Haynes beats him, and you're thinking, I don't know how good. I mean, Evan Wick's fine, but I don't know how really good he is. But then he beats Nolf, and then Jason Nolf, then Levi Haynes wins Worlds, and you're like, whoa, hold on. Evan Wick he might be like one of the top 10 guys on the planet at 79 kilograms, right?
Yeah.
Kadi Magomedov against Dustin Plott. I love that
winner
matchup.
Gets Dake, right?
Yeah, winner gets Dake for the belt. And, Kadi's the guy that beat Dake at the Olympics. He's a little hot and cold. But when he's on, he's on. He's slayed some monsters. Alara Boyd against Kennedy Blades for the title. Bilal Muhammad versus David Carr. Yoel Romero, the ageless wonder, against Pat Downey. Winner will get Bo Nickel for the title. And then Mason Paris against Wyatt Hendrickson.
For all the purists, like that very well could be the Olympic trials finals right there. So, we're starting to get to that point where I said we'd get to, like, we're going to get to that point to where matches at RAF could be Olympic trials, world trials, finals matches. And here you go.
Yeah, it's a great matchup. It has worldwide implications. I mean, Mason Paris is a senior level world medalist. Wyatt Hendrickson has won U23s. He beat Gable Stevenson, who obviously Olympic gold medalist. I mean, this is as legit as you get, and it's a great card.
Awesome card. What time is that? Do you know offhand?
8, I believe.
8 Eastern. Let me look.
Yeah. Let's go, Keith Gothard. Get here, baby. Are we writing off Lehigh Kirk? I don't know what you mean by writing off. Nah, Kirk's going to be on the card here.
I think if he means could be, Wyatt Mason could be in Olympic trials finals does not mean nobody else could be in those finals. If I were to pick right now, Kirk is pretty damn good. I think he's in the semis. So I'm not saying he can't win, but
Kirk's coming with us. Kirk's going to be on an RAF card, and we're going to get to see right where he stacks up, because I'm not exactly sure. Well, I'm not going to announce like who he's wrestling or when, but there's a path for Kirk. We're going to see right where he stacks up.
Yeah, and we'll see it. Yeah. All right. Well, sorry for the short show today. Will, you got anything else?
I got nothing. It's
going to be a fun weekend of wrestling. So we'll be back.
Awesome weekend of wrestling. And listen, we just talked for 2 hours basically about what's going on this weekend and what everything in the senior, RAF senior level worlds, college. I also have to digest and follow and consume all the high school. This weekend in high school wrestling is just amazing. Fab 50 duels are on Mad Scouts, but there's like 10 elite events in high school this weekend.
I literally got an email, Beast of the East, which just got an email for that. Isn't that this weekend too?
Yeah, and actually Seeds should be out soon if they're not already on their site. I got to check. That's the first thing I got to do when I get off here. But yeah, KC Stampede. There's just a ton of great high school events this weekend. So I got my work cut out for me.
And we got to figure out schedule-wise. We'll probably definitely do a show Monday. We'll recap it all. Between Christmas on Thursday and a light schedule next weekend, I'm not sure if we'll do a second show next week. But definitely Monday we'll be recapping all the action. Maybe Tuesday, depending on Willie's travel situation. But it looks like he's got a good setup. So
no, Sunday I leave. I'll be home Sunday night. I'm ready.
Perfect. So we'll recap it Monday. What a fun weekend of wrestling ahead. And I love that we have duels tonight. Like, give me Lock Haven, Wisconsin tonight. Give me Utah Valley, Wisconsin. Give me these duels. Like, Thursday night wrestling is awesome. Thursday night, Friday.
I wish there were more. Like, I know it's tough because it's college, but give me a. I wish there like last night. I'm up late working. I mean, even not even late, but like I wish there was a stupid college football game on.
I
Right? I don't
know.
want to watch that. I wish there was Utah Valley, Wisconsin.
By the way,
last night or something.
we brushed right over it. See, 2.5 hour show. We didn't even get to it. Penn State is on a duel streak of like 74, 75 in a row. If they win both their duels Saturday, they will set a record set by Oklahoma State back in 1950 for longest NCAA D1 consecutive dual win streak. Another record Penn State looks to be on the cusp of breaking, just record after record.
Oh, you know what I had in the show docs? This is not to glaze Penn State.
Go ahead. Who
People
cares?
you anytime no, but like on Twitter.
Trust me, I get it. If you state a fact of Penn State, just state a fact. You'll get comments like that.
Yeah. Sometimes you'll be like, "Oh, Penn State's record in the NCAA semifinals is this? Stop." You're just sucking off Penn State, or like Penn State's gonna set the dual meet win streak, yada yada yada. But I put this in the doc because of Crystall Ball. Penn State, because currently, and I make full disclosure. I mean, I make it abundantly clear. In Crystall Ball, I have Penn State with like, I don't know, 7 champs, or 6 champs or something like that. Now that's probably not going to happen. But those are my picks. And the team, and because of that, Penn State breaks the team record yet again. And people say, like, maybe, well, they can't break the record. How can they break the record again? And I don't know. All those things are not going to fall into place. Well, if you look back at last year when they set the record, they didn't fall into place. They actually did not have their typical.
They had an awesome Saturday morning where I think every single wrestler won their.
That's the stat. I put in the doc. Not specifically that Saturday round and what they did after that. But listen to this. If you consider NCAA medal matches, look at NCAA medal matches. Okay? Look at NCAA medal matches. 10 weights. You consider NCAA medal matches basically an all-star match, right? Every one of them is an All-American. You're wrestling somebody top 8 at every single weight class. Penn State had 10 All-Americans last year. So they're wrestling basically an all-star duel. It's basically on Saturday, it's Penn State against a nation of all-stars.
It's crazy.
Okay, but listen, it gets crazier. Penn State against a nation of all-stars. Do you know what Penn State went in medal matches?
I don't think they lost one last year.
They lost one.
Was it one? Oh,
Yeah.
Barr lost, right?
Barr lost in the finals. Kirkfleet defaulted. The rest went 8-0.
Yeah, I remember making that
Against the
graphic.
nation of all-stars. They went 8-0.
Yeah, I remember that now.
That's insane.
It's crazy.
All right.
And again, if you even state that, it's sad that it's like considered glaze, putting them over, whatever. It's like, but you can't ignore that. Greatness should be talked about. I don't care if you're a Penn State fan or hater. If you like wrestling, it should be talked about.
Yeah.
All right, go Bills. Big one, Browns Sunday.
Yeah, enormous game.
Chiefs eliminated. Sorry, Rocky. All right, go Bills.